Hello all. My name is Richard A. McMenamin II. I'm making this video to disclose to the people of Gilmanton, New Hampshire, and especially the parents and families that have children in the Gilmanton school, which is an elementary school here in New Hampshire that's K through 8. In 2019, unfortunately, I discovered physical abuse in the school perpetrated by individuals upon my son. It was related to a case which I had filed. Afterwards, I filed in federal court, and the merits of that case are public information and can be read online. In a nutshell, I was trying to protect my children from their mother, as it is online, documented in that case history. But at the same time, my son had an aversion towards the school, and I didn't know why. And he was breaking down horribly before and after school. And I eventually was able to finagle a meeting with personnel at the school. And when the meeting got heated enough, I guess you could say, that the teacher admitted to what I feel is assaulting my son in the classroom. I had documented with pictures bruising and gouge marks on his body, and she admitted to grabbing him and pulling him across the classroom frequently in those areas where the bruising was. To try and report that, I just got retaliated upon terribly. But there was an impact where people started to leave the school. People that were associated or knowledgeable of this abuse, or maybe even facilitated it. I don't know. I can tell you one thing, that after 4 years of investigation, it's highly believed that the DCYF was involved in facilitating or enabling that abuse in the school. That's a whole nother ball of wax. But the Gilmanton police are, I feel, a risk to the children in that school right now. If you read the merits of my federal case, the DCYF sent the Gilmanton police out to my home to threaten me that if I made any more reports of abuse, that the children would be taken away from me. Prior to that, I tried to stop the abuse. This is the abuse at home. I tried to stop it by reporting to the Gilmanton police, and I was told, as filed in a lawsuit, that if I tried to stop the mother from physically attacking the children, that I would be arrested and taken out of the home. And then pertaining to other types of abuse, I said, well, I can audio tape, for evidence, and they threatened to arrest me for wiretapping. But it got so involved that the Gilmanton police, when sent by the DCYF, disclosed to me, Officer Casey Brennan said, there's no such thing as child abuse in the state of New Hampshire unless a child's bleeding. Okay? And that would later propagate into the teachers and the Gilmanton police stating that child abuse laws don't apply to teachers in the state of New Hampshire anyhow, so they can do anything they want. But what's really, really disturbing is the day that they sent Casey Brennan over, the DCYF, he disclosed to me that he feels that it's good for a child to be hit in the head. He said he was hit in the head by his father when he was younger, and that he hit his children in the head when they were younger. I mean, the wheels are off on this thing. In addition to this, through my investigation for 4 years into the Gilmanton police and, researching for discovery for my federal case, I was able to discover that in 2019 and or 2020, Gilmanton police officer Julian Goodry, who's highly involved in my case also, had a restraining order taken out against him by the N.H Family Court, a restraining order which concerned his children and his wife or ex-wife or spouse. I'm not sure exactly if they were still married at the time. And that restraining order ordered him not to be in possession of any firearms. Pretty serious matter, restraining order against an individual that concerns his children and firearms. The Gilmanton police allowed him to continue to carry firearms. They kept him employed. And he was labeled resource officer at the school. He entered the school multiple times while under that restraining order and with his gun. This is what's going on here. Now, the cover-up of the abuse led to more abuse. A year later, after the Department of Education got involved and removed or repositioned people from that school throughout the state, they put them in other schools probably, there was an assault upon 14 more children, which I learned about through other parents. And the person that did that, they allowed stay there. The Gilmanton police were knowledgeable of it. Other authorities were knowledgeable of it. They allowed him to stay there until he was eventually removed. Now, 14 children were assaulted in that class, and there are 11 parents that still don't know that their children were hit in that classroom. And now you have the Gilmanton police in the school as resource officers to protect that abusive dynamic even further. With their philosophy that a child should be hit, your children are at risk because they are the protectors of that environment now. They're the protectors of that abusive environment. If they've been able to protect it thus far, now they're in the school on a daily basis. And God knows what they'll do to your kids. Now, the other problem is they've had support of the judge and the judicial system in this state. This went through a family court, a judge named Garner up in Laconia. Garner labeled that abuse at the Gilmanton school as directing in the classroom. So bruises, gouge marks, physical assaults is what I term it as. Assaulting a human being, so be it a child. Once he labeled that directing in the classroom, that was a very dangerous precedent. And this precedent I took it all the way to the Supreme Court of New Hampshire. And people don't understand this now. It's not only the Gilmanton school, that it's every school in New Hampshire. Now there is a legal precedent, which is stronger than a written law, that any type of assault like that upon a child in a school is labeled directing in the classroom, and it's not a crime. Your children are not protected now. Not only at the Gilmanton school, the Gilmanton school is the nexus of this thing, but now you have it all throughout the state. This is a Supreme Court order. I don't know where any defense attorney is going to grab onto that when a teacher is charged with abuse. They're just going to go to that, directing in the classroom. A judge says it's okay. The evidence was posed to this judge. It's okay. It's very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. The toxic environment that this has created in the school, I believe, is a dangerous environment. Because if they're doing this to somebody else besides me, they might not have the restraint, and they might not have the fortitude to have filed 4 years worth of lawsuits and federal lawsuits and go up against these judges that are just going to retaliate against you anyhow. And in doing so, they retaliate against your children. They use your children as weapons against you, is what happens. In my case, the judge denied my son medical care to try and provoke is the only word you could use. If they're doing it to somebody else, it's very dangerous, I believe, when you think about it. The people of Gilmanton, New Hampshire, and the parents, especially of children at that school, need to be aware of this. I truly understand that they're probably going to retaliate against me further. The retaliation, the threats, the judicial retaliation upon me and my children has been severe. Just severe. This has gone all the way into a federal court now, and the federal judge has involved himself in it by ignoring what's going on in this state court. The lawmakers involved, but it's all secretive. You don't know the people behind it. How many people there are behind it, I guess. But I'm just a construction guy, okay? Logging, construction, drilling and blasting all my life. I'm older. I'm an older parent. This isn't supposed to be happening. And I fought my heart out for 4 years, trying to protect my children, but also I did protect your children at the Gilmanton school for 3 years. The removal of those 10 people was my doing. I admit it. I mean, the pressures that I put on them. But by doing that, I made that a better environment for your children. And I was able to keep the police out of that school for a period of time. But now they're going in because of a federal judge's decision. It's up to you now to be knowledgeable of this and to protect your children from this. I know some parents might say, oh, well, it's good for children to be hit. I don't believe that that's the majority. I don't. I've raised children previously, and I couldn't even imagine this environment, this dynamic and behavior by the people that are involved. I don't understand even where it came from. I guess they're so good at covering it up that it's probably going on elsewhere in the state, heavily even. But this seems to be pretty bad. So it's with a heavy heart that I disclose this to you, but I can't not disclose it to you. If I was a parent of children in that school, I would want to know that this was going on. And I'm taking a chance by doing this because of all that's been done to us, me and my children, previously. So I hope that you will involve yourself in it, that you will demand some answers in it. And most of all, I hope that you will be able to at least keep the Gilmanton police out of that school. I believe they are an inherent danger to children. Thank you very much. God bless all you good souls out there, and God bless every child. Thank you.